All right guys, today we're out here at Pipeline Disc Golf Course, one of the 3 courses being used for this week's A-Tier, the Halloween Classic in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Hope you guys enjoy the coverage, and hopefully I can give you some good insight on the course. All right, so today it looks like we're gonna have a lot of wind, so this will be a good challenge for me, and good conditions, very tournament-like. A lot of times you play courses like this, you get unexpected wind, so I'm glad I'm practicing it right now. But for hole 1 here, it looks like we got a little bit of a tailwind. I'm gonna be throwing a shot kind of just to the left of that crooked tree leaning over the fairway. The wind's gonna help me out a little bit. So I'm throwing a pig obviously, but I'm thinking about the wind. I'm thinking about just throwing with Annie right in front of that tree. So those are really the only 2 things I'm doing. So I'm lining up my body, lining up all my arm and everything to just go right inside that tree left and with some turn. I'm not really too worried about the speed because there's a hill and it'll stop it. So it turned right in front of that tree, I hit it. So I'm gonna try one more. So when I'm playing practice rounds, obviously, you know, I don't throw every shot perfect, but I learned stuff from each shot. So that was, you know, the wind didn't turn as much as I thought, so I'm gonna try and turn it a little bit more because the basket's down a little more left. Oh, I hit something left. So I went 1 right, 1 left, but I still kind of got a feel for the gap on this one. I can make the adjustments. This is gonna be tough. So with the wind ripping right to left and the slope going right to left, so I'm really gonna have to try and throw it right, which is tough because I got this tree right here, but. So that was good, I should have a tap in. Days like this, upshots are probably the most important thing, just because you don't want to be putting 30, 40 footers in this kind of wind. I threw one more somewhere. Oh, there it is. So yeah, sometimes I'll throw 2 or 3 drives and in a practice round and maybe play the worst one. That way, and that's the worst case scenario, and I know that. Wow, this is crazy. Hurricane winds coming in. Yeah, days like this, pars are like birdies sometimes. All right, hole 2 here. Looks like we got a headwind, pretty good solid headwind, even a little right to left. Pretty short hole, I'm gonna be throwing a pig. So I'm just kind of looking at that right tree, aiming my shot there, letting the wind kind of fade it and carry it towards the basket. I'm gonna try and keep it a little low. That way it doesn't get caught up in the wind, and you're uphill. You're naturally gonna wanna throw it higher than normal. So I'm just gonna focus on throwing it low, keeping it through the wind, and kind of slide it up to the basket. Oh, that was too left. So yeah, I make mistakes like that all the time. But luckily it's a practice round now, so I can make the mistake and make the adjustment. But that one I just threw it too hyzer and the wind just took it. So I'm gonna focus on throwing this one a little flatter. And then that won't get taken so far left. I didn't actually throw it left, the wind just took it there. I just didn't make the adjustment. A lot of people think when they're in the wind, they actually threw it that way. But this time I'm gonna throw the exact same shot, just change the angle of release, and that's the only thing I'm gonna change. You notice it went straight? That thing didn't really come back, but at least a putt. The wind kind of reacted a little bit different than I thought on that one, but you're in a tunnel. Tunnels react different with weird different angles.
So Ricky, when you are approaching the tee box, you already know what disc selection you have, and you make the adjustment once you get on the box, or how does that work? Yeah,
I think for the most part I know the disc I'm throwing, but it just depends on like wind like this. Yeah, it totally changes your shot. I think that's the biggest thing I see amateurs do is when it gets real windy, they throw this hole, they've thrown it a couple times in practice, and then the wind rips up, they throw the same disc. You might have to change your disc, you might have to change your angle. Don't expect to throw the same shot when it's super windy. You gotta play the wind and make the adjustments. Don't throw the same shot and hope for the best. All right. Yeah. So yeah, my first one got killed by the wind. This hole short should be pretty easy birdie, but obviously not in this wind. So I'm gonna change my putt up a little bit in the wind. You'll probably see in this round, I'll probably putt a lot of spin putts. Yeah. So yeah, as you can see, spin putting is a little easier. That was a lot of headwind. Just has a better chance to go in for me when because I normally have a high to low putt, as you guys normally know. So So having straight at it putt when it's windy makes a big difference. So this is my second shot that I made the adjustment on. Still not great, but for this wind, as you guys can see, you're throwing uphill into the wind, so yeah, you don't really have a choice. Your disc is going to get nosed up, and it's going to be some inconsistencies with how it flies. But I got the birdie, even from the bad drive. All right, looks like we got a big solid tailwind, and we're going downhill, so that's naturally going to make my disc a little bit more stable, so I'm going to have to counteract that and throw a little more angle on it. And I'm going to throw this one low. The last hole was downhill or uphill, so I'm throwing a little higher than normal. This one is going to make me throw a little bit lower than normal, so I'm going to try and aim low, try and throw through those 2 orange posts with a little bit low angle, and just try and keep it out of the wind as much as I can. At least that's the goal. I told myself to keep it low, too low. I'll throw one more. Like I said, I like to throw a couple shots on all my practice rounds to really get a good gauge on how the wind holes are playing, especially right now. All right, I don't really have the right disc for the second shot, but I'll throw this one. This one's a T-Bird 3. I'm just gonna throw the same shot, just a little bit higher. Feeling high, just missed the line, but so I'll throw one more. Why not? As you can see, it's hard to hit the line with the way this hill slopes here. I'm gonna throw a totally different shot in this one. I'm gonna throw a flex Firebird. So I'm gonna yank it way over and try and ride the right tree line and come back. Almost got him. So yeah, this hole is challenging, as you can see. So that's why practice rounds are so important, and not just going into a course playing blind. I don't remember the last time I played a tournament blind. Usually at least 2 to 3 practice rounds per course before I actually feel like I'm able to compete. So I'll play the first one out just because practice my up shots. So the wind's died pretty much now, it looks like. But yeah, from now right here, I'm basically just thinking I'm getting a par. I want to get a par. I threw a bad drive, but it happens, and kind of minimize the damage, get a par, and I don't really want to have to make a putt. I just want to get up easy, up and down for a par. Throwing a pig, should just slide up there. Yeah. Those are the kind of putts you want in the wind. So yeah, obviously I didn't throw the best drive, but I made up for it with the upshot. Walk away with the par and not really be happy, but I'm not really disappointed either because I know how hard this hole can play. Like the second one, way in the woods, that'd be really tough par. Whoop. If it's windy enough, I'll actually putt with the pig too, because it has a low profile and it really cuts through the wind really well. This is a fun one. Looks like a fun little ace run. All right, so this hole I played it a couple times, enough to know that it looks real easy and right there, but if you hit any of those guardian trees, you bounce back and you actually slide a lot of times 50 feet short. So it's basically miss those 2 guardian trees and you're parked. Those are really the only variables I'm thinking of. I'm really just trying to split the gap. I'm not gonna try and get cute in ace run. I mean, I might right now, but not in a tournament. Just because I've hit those trees and they trickle all the way back to where it's like an automatic par if you don't hit the gap. Don't hit it. All right. I actually got kind of lucky. I hit the side of the tree instead of squared the tree. That makes a big difference. As opposed to if I hit the tree center, it bounced back, it still went forward. I'm gonna throw another pig. See if I can get a little ace run for fun. So I hit the other side. So as you can see, those trees are right in the way, but both those are probably still putting 20, 25. Yeah, if you guys, once you watch the tournament coverage, if you guys are gonna watch that, you'll see, I bet you'll see at least 1 or 2 people per group hit that tree and kind of filter all the way down to even here because it's so uphill. And once it hits that tree, it just kind of flies backwards with gravity. So that's something you really have to pay attention to. Like I said, I hit the side of this tree, kind of bounced up here for a putt, yeah. Another one hit the other side of it, so I kind of got lucky. Tap in for the 2. This one's a pretty birdieable hole, as you can see. You can ace run it pretty easily. This is the other shot. All right. On to hole 5. So we got a pretty tight, narrow gap. It's basically a mid-range or a fairway driver, whichever arm speed that you want to go with. I'm going to go with a little harder arm swing on the fairway, on the mid-range versus a slower arm speed with the fairway driver. Feel more comfortable that way hitting this gap. But you want to hit this gap, just miss this last guardian tree and kind of turn in front of it. You want to get up over that second tier, and the basket's kind of up there. It's a really risky drive, not risky, but you really got to commit to it. If you hit anything early, it's pretty much almost an automatic bogey unless you can scramble something crazy. So I'm really just trying to hit the initial gap, and then after that, try and get some distance up there for a putt. It's hard to really park this one, but if you can get inside 40, it's a pretty solid shot. So see if I can execute it. Got through. I got a little lucky. Wow, I got really lucky. I went inside that last tree, but I'm up there for a putt. I'm probably 20, 25. I was trying to go around that tree and went just inside of it, so I missed my line by like a foot. But on wooded holes like this, that's all it takes sometimes. But I just pulled it just enough to where I got through. And I glided up there, and probably, like I said, feels like I'm about 20, 25 feet. But I have played a couple practice rounds where you hit this, and the way the slope is on this angle, you bounce over there, and it's like you're pretty much getting an automatic bogey, unless 90%.
On a hole like this, what's making you think turnover versus sidearm?
That's a great question. So if you notice the angle is kind of like offset like this, so I can form a backhand through this angle, to whereas this tree kind of with a sidearm, if I miss this tree and hyzer out, I'm gonna land over there. But if I miss this tree and hyzer out with a backhand, I'm up on the green. So it's just the way that the hole sets up and where the trees are placed that a sidearm kind of doesn't really fit as well. So some holes, a lot of people ask, well, why don't throw your sidearm? It's a left to right. Well, yeah, there's maybe a tree in a certain area to where a backhand flex or a backhand turnover is a little bit easier to hit the angle. So I'm so good with both that sometimes I feel a little more comfortable with the backhand. Sometimes I feel more comfortable with the sidearm. Just how comfortable I feel hitting the gap majority of the time. This is kind of not really a bonus putt, but a bonus hole to birdie, but definitely is nice to birdie. So I got one limb here kind of in the way, but pretty easily get over it. Ah, dang it. That's a bummer. That's a tough, when you get up there on this hole, you want to make that putt, but it's a bummer. It's all right, tap in for a par, move on. But yeah, this hole can be challenging, especially if you hit early. But holes like that, it makes it even that much more rewarding to get a birdie, because you know some people will hit early and get a bogey. You can gain 2 strokes potentially. So this course, I think out of all the 3 that we're playing this week, is probably the shortest course, but at the same time, it might be the most challenging just because of the angles and how wooded and tight the holes are. So I don't always judge a course by the length of it. Some courses may score a lot more challenging, even with shorter holes. So this one is it's kind of a flex shot. You want to go straight, carry for about 300, and then start fading a little bit right. It's kind of a slope downhill and right. I'm just trying to hit this gap with a little bit of a semi-straight pig and just kind of fade late. Another one of those holes like the last one that if you hit early, it's a really tough par. So I'm really not really thinking about that. I'm just thinking about trying to hit this gap, and that's it. Oh, I hit that last tree. That's the one. Throw one more. I luckily got a good bounce into the middle. I'll try one more shot here. Throw a little bit flippier of a pig so I can turn a little bit left off of that tree. I'm starting at my aiming point there. That's a little better. I hit the last tree, but I like that line a lot better, just a little high. So as you can see, I'm making little slight little adjustments. The first one I hit that tree, which obviously is not my ideal shot, but it allows me to be able to make the adjustment now. And when I'm going in the tournament, I can make the adjustment from this practice round. And so to a certain extent, I'm not too bummed about hitting that and kind of being able to make the adjustment. So I'm kind of, if anything, I'm glad I do it now and not in the tournament. Like I said, this shot is very tough if you hit early. So as you can see, it's a pretty tight, weird angle here. And yeah, you really, discs like to roll on this green. As you can see, it's pretty sloped. So I'm just gonna throw a pretty high pig, try and spike it. Try and land right in the basket if I can to avoid the hill as much as I possibly can. There we go. Oops, it. Oh, like I said, wow. Got a horrible roll. All right, so now how I can adjust from that is I can try and throw it higher and hit higher on the hill, which is not as slopey. There we go, that's not gonna roll. See? See, I hit to the right of the basket. As you see, it flattens out. But the first one I hit short of the basket and I rolled because it's such a more steep of a slope. So I'm paying attention to that kind of stuff. And that's why, you know, obviously, once again, I'm not happy that I rolled like that, but I am kind of happy that I did it now, and I can kind of see how that slope plays when I'm throwing an upshot into it. I don't really have much of a putt here. I got a slight ante. It's definitely makeable. Let's see if I can execute it. Ah, nope. So that'd be a bogey. First one of the day. Yeah, on wooded holes, wooded courses, it's gonna happen, but luckily tomorrow, or whenever I play this course for the tournament, not tomorrow, but I can make that adjustment. So if anything, I'm happy that I did it now and not in the tourney. And as you can see, that second one, like I told you, I hit farther right of the basket and it didn't roll. So I tap in the bogey. Bogey here. And that's pretty much from the drive. The drive set me up for a bogey on that one.
So Ricky, on a shot like that last one where your tee shot isn't what you had planned or you get a bad roll away, how do you kind of keep your mindset on focusing on the next shot versus kind of thinking about, oh man, I just messed up the previous shot?
Yeah, it's easy. That's a big question that a lot of people ask, and it's something to where it's just you gotta go into the round knowing that you're not gonna have these roller coasters. As soon as you have the, you know, you say you ace a hole and the next hole you bogey, you know, if you can just keep the level head and know that you play a wooded course like this and stuff like that is going to happen whether you want it to or not, that you can, that's a good mindset to go into. Not that you ever want it to happen, but just know in the back of your head that it has potential to happen. You won't be as shocked. To whereas if you go through a course thinking, oh, I birdied every hole in practice, I'm just gonna go do it again. Yeah, that's a great mindset to have, but then that sets you up for a failure when you don't do that. So just kind of go into it with a realistic personality and know that that's going to happen as long as you stick to the process and stick to your game plan. You know, the consistency will always win in the long run. So this hole is 350. I'm throwing a pig just because it's a really tight gap and I really want to make sure to turn and really get this turn. I'm actually going to throw a different disc. Last time I threw it too straight. This is the kind of hole that it's really hard to actually hit the gap and turn far enough right. So I'm gonna throw a beat up T-bird here. And yeah, you just wanna get just past these guardian trees down there and really follow this green grass to the left. Oh, that was so close. That was pretty much what I was looking for. I think I missed the height by a tiny little bit, but that's what wooded courses do. If you miss by a tiny bit, you're way off. I'm gonna try the pig like I was gonna throw earlier. Try the pig. I was really happy with that shot, actually. That was pretty much exactly what I was trying to do. I don't know this course or this hole perfectly, so I'm still learning also. But I'm gonna throw a pig and just try and throw a very similar shot, honestly. I was really close to being perfect. Yeah, I'm just catching, I must be just catching some inside tree here. I'll try one more. But the thing is, you have to cut it tight like that. As soon as you go wide, there's a whole bunch of trees that you're gonna hit. So I'm really trying to cut it tight, but I'm just hitting something a little bit early. That's a little early too, maybe. Okay, that looks like it got through. But if you notice, that shot was pretty much the exact same shot as those other two. And so I wasn't, you know, even though it looks like I'm way off based on the result of my shot that's over here kind of in the crap, I wasn't really that disappointed with it. I was actually happy with the release and everything. All right, looks like a little tricky little up and down here. When I'm in a spot like this, I just go to wherever the biggest gap is. So there's a gap there and a gap here. That's basically what I'm looking at. Looks like this is the biggest direct gap to the basket, so I'm gonna go with this one. And right now I'm just trying to pay attention to that middle tree and just try to go left of it. And then hyzer back around to the right towards the basket. Something like that. Sit. Oh, I got a horrible roll, looks like. My discs are rolling up there on these greens today. But yeah, I was happy with that. Hit the gap, got a bad roll, but can't control that, especially from that spot. This is another same, like I said, pretty much from that last shot, this one was pretty much the same exact shot, but if I had to guess, I bounced over here, but I probably hit this last corner tree and just barely, you know, if I miss it to just a tiny bit, I'm way up there by the basket. So it looks like I was way off, but it's one of those holes where it looks like you're way off, but you're really fractionally off. So I'm excited to see where this pig is actually, so I can kind of gauge from there. Okay, I parked it, looks like, wow. See, that's the crazy thing. Those first two were not great drives. This one was perfect, parked it. So, and it was, from the wide release, it was pretty much the same shot. I'll take the par on this one. This one's, like I said, another challenging hole. This hole isn't very long. It's more just the angle, and it's off-centered angle and kind of challenging. This is my third one that I threw the pig. That was what I was gonna throw the first time. So I still make brain farts, but luckily, it's, like I said, it's in practice. Now I know the disc I need to throw on that hole, and I have confidence knowing that I can execute that shot. Alrighty. This one looks like just a dead straight tunnel shot, pretty much. I'm gonna throw a rock. Just try and throw it pretty firm and hard and hit the gap. There's an upslope by the basket, so I don't mind going too far deep because the upslope's gonna stop it. But yeah, I'm really just trying to hit the gap here. A little bit of a headwind is gonna help it turn, looks like. That looks perfect. Oh, I hit the last one, but I was very happy with that. I'll throw one more shot. Yeah, I was happy with that release. I pretty much hit my height, hit my angle. I just caught a little bit of a limb, but I'm not disappointed with that. That's a lot of people get caught up on results, especially in a practice round. If you throw a shot that feels perfect and it hits the gap and you get an unlucky shot, don't be disappointed about it. Be happy that you hit the gap and you hit the shot that you're trying to execute, you know? Obviously in a tournament, you have to be results oriented because that's what's, your tournament depends on it, but not in a practice round. So once again, I'm gonna try to throw pretty much that similar shot. Oh, that was not it. It's like that. And see, like that's a perfect example. I threw a bad shot and it got all the way through. So if you're focused on results, that second one is obviously closer to the basket, but it wasn't a good release. It didn't feel as good as that first one that may not be as close. So I don't get caught up on results in a practice round too much, just for that reason. I get caught up on how my swing feels and how I'm executing the shots. And that's the most important thing, because then that'll, in the long run, that'll equate to more birdies, more good shots, and build up more confidence for your swing. A little straddle putt when I'm on a side slope. I like the straddle putt. Just feels like it counteracts the hill a little better. So this putt, it's uphill, so I'm trying to throw it a little high and let it kind of drop in. A little short. That was better. Still missed it, but uphill, you really got to make sure to throw it high. I'm trying to throw it at the yellow, start it at the yellow band, and let the gravity take it down. See, so this one was a pretty similar shot. It was a way worse shot, but it had very similar result. So I got another par. like I said, I wasn't, you know, the shot that I threw was good enough for a birdie. I just got caught up with a little bit of a limb. All right, hole 9. This is a par 3, the off-centered gap here. It's a slight hyzer. I'm gonna go with just a slightly broken in rock and just throw it with a little bit of hyzer. I'm just trying to drift just left of that big tree that's kind of in the middle of the fairway and just go left of it, kind of glide up towards the green. So I'm just focused on hitting this gap, lining up my body, lining up my arm, and lining up my everything to swing towards this gap and the angle that I want to hit it on. So that's pretty much it. Go. All right. So I hit something late, but I'm happy with that.
Put it back in film.
Yeah, I did. So I was happy with that shot. Hit the gap. Like I told you guys, I was trying to hit with a little bit of hyzer just in front of that tree. That's exactly what I did. So sometimes on wooded shots like this, you hit your initial gap, you do everything you can, and sometimes it works out and it looks like I got a good kick. And I got probably about 25 footer, it looks like. So overall, pretty happy with this. I feel like I can repeat that. This is a really tough shot though. If you don't execute, that's the thing about wooded holes. It's a very executable shot until it's not, and then you're having to scramble. But luckily for me, I've actually thrown in some bad spots so far in this practice round. That way I can learn to practice and scramble from certain areas, and that way if I bounce in that area, I can kind of have a feel for how the discs fly, how the upshots hit the green. As you saw a couple holes back, I rolled away, so all that stuff. So yeah, must hit one of these trees. But even if I don't hit those trees, I would probably end up, 20, 25 left. Instead, I'm probably hit that and kind of filter this way. So got a pretty makeable putt here. Should be able to hit this. So yeah, happy with the 2 there after a bogey back a couple holes ago. Thanks for watching the front 9 on Ace Run Pro. Be sure to head to my channel for the back 9.